Hello, and welcome to another edition of Tech Tip Tuesday. In this week's Tech Tip, we're going to take a look at Google Sites and ensuring that any Google site we've created for the public is WCAG compliant and accessible to all who view it. Our previous videos in this series focused on Parent Square's Studio Editor and Canva Elements for Design. You can find these videos on our Instructional Technology YouTube channel at Tech Tip Tuesday. For this week's tech tip, we're going to take a look at any previously created Google site you may have and using that checklist to ensure that things like color contrast, adding alternative text for all images and graphics in that website, making sure that we're using easy to read fonts, simple layouts, and also ensuring that any informational text is found in the body of the message or the website and not in any images or PDF files. Remember, we want to ensure that this material is accessible to anybody who views it. Let's get started. For our first set of examples, we're going to use the Instructional Technology team's Google site that we have created for CMCSS. I'm going to use my checklist and start off with color contrast. Basically, I want to make sure that my colors match and work well. Any light colored fonts are paired with a dark colored background or vice versa. Now, at any time if I notice on one of my pages that I need to make a change, you know that as long as you're signed in with your CMCSS Google account and on the Google site that you own with that account, you can click on this Edit the Page pencil icon in the bottom right corner to open up the draft and make your changes. So here I am in the draft page. I'm going to start off with my banner, and I've noticed that the banner Instructional Technology CMCSS, I created this inside of Canva. If you would like information on how to make your Canva designed elements WCAG compliant, refer to our Canva video in this series. I'm going to scroll down and take a look at my other images, making sure that the colors are good. But then I noticed that my font colors are a little off. I've got this very light colored green on a white background. Now over here in each row inside of Google Sites, I can click on the paint palette icon and I can choose between different styles. If I choose this darker style, the colors work. If I don't want to use that darker style, maybe I want to use style 2 for gray, I can highlight the text, select text color, and pick one that would match better. Now, sometimes depending on what theme that you choose inside of Canva, the colors will automatically readjust when you go back and forth between the three different styles. If they don't, you need to make sure to highlight the font itself and then adjust the text color to make sure it works. I'm going to go ahead and change this back to style 2, making sure I got that gray background. Now, earlier I mentioned themes. A theme inside of Google Sites is a way for you to have specific colors selected, pre-selected that are automatically used anytime you create something inside of that Google site. You can get to themes by clicking on the themes icon in the top right corner. You can create a customized theme where you click, give it a name. If you want to add your logo, your school logo to the top, a banner image, you can also click next and choose preset colors. Now, if you don't want to use a customized theme, Google Sites has several pre-created themes already that you can click through, adjust the colors, and pick the one that works. All right, now we're going to go ahead and start talking about adding alternative text for all of our images and graphics. And let's start off again up here at the top. We have our main banner, and if you click on an image inside of Google Sites, you'll get this extra more editing options. Click on that and you can see alternative text. Now, I've already added the alternative text, and I'm going to go ahead and start here at the very beginning. And you want to remember to be as descriptive as possible based on whatever that image is. In this case, it's the homepage header with the title of the website. Pretty simple. I would click apply, and that will apply the alternative text. Now, this is something kind of special with the banner area. I've got another picture behind the banner. How do I add alternative text for this picture behind the banner? Well, when I click, you may notice that there's a blue line behind it. I'm going to select image, scroll down and pick alt text. Now, this particular image behind the header, the banner with the title of the website, is just decorative. It's just pretty. It's got a lot of moving parts. It's not really necessary. There's no important information in there. So I can mark that as this is a decorative image and then just check apply. Now, be careful. If you have a picture and you've typed in an alternative text and then you want to see maybe this is a decorative image, you click the box, it's going to erase what you put here. So be careful that you don't accidentally do that and lose what you typed. As I go down, I'm going to go ahead and pick this one right here with the IT team. Select that, go to More Editing Options, Alternative Text, and then I'm going to go ahead and scroll through and look at what I've already typed in here. This image shows the members of the instructional team with our names, titles, emails, any of that important information that is inside of that image. Remember, we want the majority of our information as font, as text inside of a Google website. But if you do have an image that has something important in it, make sure you include that important info in the alternative text. Right here, I'm going to go ahead and click on this button, and I'm going to select the alt text as well. But before I do that, notice I've got a link attached to this image. So when I click alt text, I want to make sure to be very descriptive and say that this is a button that links, let's change that grammatical error, for the links to the Tuesday, went a little bit fast there, Tuesday training schedule. There we go. And then also a description of what the picture actually is. It shows some people working around a table. So I want to make sure to be very clear with that alt text. That picture is important because it is an actual link. So I need to make sure to have that in my description, plus a description of the actual picture itself, the people working around a table. Then make sure to click apply. If at any time I'm clicking on a picture and I accidentally double click inside of Google Sites, I may get this editing function, and this is just a way to crop the picture. If that ever happens, just click off to the side and you should get the picture reselected again, where you can then go and click on the more editing options, select your alternative text, and go ahead and type and enter that in there. Also note, unlike Parent Square's Studio Editor, there is no AI option for the AI to automatically give a suggestion. You have to type it in manually yourself. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at making sure we have easy to read fonts in our Google site. At the top here, again, like I mentioned earlier, this banner was created in Canva, and if you want information on how to make sure your fonts and Canva elements are WCAG compliant, refer back to that previous video in this series. Now, inside of Google Sites, anytime I have a text box, I can highlight the text and I can adjust the font style here. Now, inside of Google Sites, there's quite a bit of fonts available. Not nearly as many as in Canva, but a lot more than you would see in Studio Editor. You still want to make sure to go through and pick a font that works well and is easily read by a screen reader or somebody without a screen reader. In this case, Lato is a good option, but there are others here. Go ahead and look through them, pick the one that works best for you, but remember, make sure that it's easy to read. Now, just because I adjust the font in one text box does not mean it's going to automatically adjust everywhere else. For example, I have this one right here. It looks like it's kind of a quasi-cursive. I want to change that to match Lato, make it a little bit easier to read. So I just highlight it, click on the drop down, look for the font that I want, in this case Lato Black, to have them all match, and there you go, that easy. Make sure you look through all the pages in your website and make sure that you fix all your color contrasting issues, any font issues that you may have on every single page before you're ready to go. All right, let's take a look at one more thing. We're going to go ahead and make sure that we have a nice, simple layout with our Google site. So what does that mean? At the very top of our site, we've got our page title. There's also a logical order. Everything is going to be visible from horizontal. That means all the information is on one part of the page. Also, everything is in vertical view, scrolls in order of need according to the purpose of the website. Basically, important information is up at the top, and as you get to the bottom of the page, less and less importance. Also, at the very bottom of the page or other places in the page, you may notice a spot where the author of the page has added an update. In this case, this page was last updated back in December, and the initials of who updated it. And sometimes you even have an area at the bottom where you can reach out to any issues you may find with the website. Now, I've mentioned making sure that everything is visible horizontally, vertically, it looks good. How do you make sure that the edits you made to your draft will look good on the live version of the page? In Google Sites, you have a preview option at the top. When you click preview, it will automatically open up a preview for you with 3 different versions of the website as it would appear on a device. This one I have selected here is a phone, and this will show me what the website will look like if someone accesses it on their mobile phone device. In the middle, we have a tablet like an iPad or other type of tablet. And then the last option right here is what it would look like on a standard computer screen or computer monitor. Now remember, this is just a preview of the changes you've made. If you've made any changes and you want them to be reflected in the live version of the site, you have to republish. So I'm going to exit my preview. I'm going to come up here to the top and I'm going to select Publish. Now what this is going to do is it's going to show me what changes I made right here on the left, and then what is currently being visible. Right here on the right is what is currently public to the people who visit the website. So if I made any changes, it's going to show me here are the changes. Here's what's currently visible. And if it works, it's what I want to do. I click publish and I'll make sure that those changes go live. All right, for the rest of the video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at an example teacher classroom version of a Google site. Now, this is one that I've made for the purposes of this video. Your website will look much better and have a lot more information on it, but I wanted to show you some real teacher ideas, some things that you might actually have, and talk about it in your own instances. So I have a website, and I do have a simple layout. It is about the topic that I may have been teaching in a class, in this case, Julius Caesar, some extra info. And then as I scroll down, I have a couple pieces right here. I've got this image of Julius Caesar. And again, I'd click on that image, add alt to text. And right here, I've got my alt to text, the photo of an old bust of the Roman politician, Julius Caesar. Pretty simple. Then right here, I have a section for links. Now, I didn't show this in the previous part of the video, but if you have any kind of links to other resources or other instructional materials that you want the students to have, you want to be very clear in making sure what those links are. If I left off this piece right here, use these links for today's assignment, then the screen reader would only see the phrase or the words politician, general, dictator, and it might even pick up that it is a actual hyperlink or URL, but not really the purpose behind it. So we want to make sure that that's pretty clear. If you got any links to anything here, you want to make sure that you have some kind of information that tells directly what it is. Right here, I have a PDF linked to my Google Drive for a set of notes. Again, like I said earlier, I want to make sure I'm very clear at what this linked document is. So if I double click, type in my text, link to a PDF document of notes from class. Then I can click, drag it on top, and then adjust the colors, font style, stuff like that, like I mentioned earlier in the video. Anytime we have any kind of important links to instructional materials, we want to make sure that we are very clear what those links are. Another piece to consider are PDF copies of notes or other instructional materials given to students in class. In previous videos, we have discussed not using PDF files for newsletters, as these public-facing documents, if done in a PDF form, are unable to be made WCAG compliant. PDF copies of instructional materials already given to students, however, do not fall underneath those guidelines because the teacher has already made them accessible to the student in class. Therefore, they are not given out to the entire public, just the students. So if you have links to activities or lessons of notes, things like that, such as this example where we have 4 copies of notes for specific topics and then a study guide, that is okay because the students have already been given these documents, these instructional materials in class, and they have already been made accessible to those individual students based on their needs. If you have any of your old class newsletters archived on a Google site, you might want to consider deleting those from the Google site and instead putting a very clear message to please refer to Parent Square for any past newsletters. The reason being is that PDF copies of these newsletters are not WCAG compliant, and we want to redirect the parents to look at Parent Square, our primary communication tool for anything that is public facing. Another common feature of a Google Classroom website are photos taken of students in class. These kinds of photos should only be used if the parents of the students involved have given permission. If you don't know if you have permission, you need to go ahead and check on that before you post a picture of those students. If you do have permission and you have your photos, you can go ahead and give them the alternative text, but this should be done more generically, such as students in class working on an assignment. This is more decorative. You don't necessarily want to call it a decorative image, but you want to go ahead and give it just a very generic description. Especially don't attach student names either to the alternative text or any of the headings on the picture itself. And also you want to make sure not to get too many close-up shots of the students with their face. As we wrap up today's video, remember, Parent Square is our district's primary communication tool. Don't forget to use your accessibility checklist anytime you go to create a public communication with Studio Editor, any designs for public communication in Canva, or working on a Google site. Make sure to use PNG or JPEG files and not PDFs, and then add alternative text for any images uploaded into Studio Editor or a Google site. The goal of our 3 videos is to help you, the educator, to ensure that all of your families can access the important info that you want to share with them. You can find all these videos on our YouTube channel playlist, seen it on your screen.
If you have questions about this or other instructional technology, please reach out to us individually or through our instructional technology email, instructionaltechnology@cmcss.net. On Tuesdays, we have open office hours from 2:30 to 5. It's a time where you can join us via Zoom and ask any instructional technology questions that you have. If we don't have the answer then, we can get back with you at the Screencastify or visit you in person. Our final Tuesday Tech training for February 2026 is on today, February 24th. It is Magic School for All Next Steps. March 2026 is a busy schedule. For March 3rd, we have two classes. One is pair practice, that's for all grade levels. The second class is pair assessment with the lockdown browser. This is only for 6th through 12th grade because they're the only ones who have pair assessment. On March 10th, we have two classes as well, Canva Advanced with Canva Code and ClearTouch Advanced. During spring break, which is the week of March 17th, there are no training classes at all. Enjoy your spring break. On March 24th, looking at one class, which is Ed Puzzle uh, with the intro and best practices. And then finally on March 31st, we're going to have IXL intro and best practices. In addition to our instructional technology team email, check out our other resources available through our YouTube channel and our Google site.